Oh, Tibetan New Year also, and
Yes.
okay. You also have Losar, no?
Yes. Yes.
So we should have party. Yeah, I was. It was on 10th, right? When was the New Year? On the 10th. 10th. University also has.
New Year of fire.
Somebody says it's a dragon year, right? Is it? Is this a dragon year? Who sent me that message? I think Sunim, yeah? Sunim? Is this a dragon year? This is the year of dragon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So,
Last time you mentioned the two edition, right?
sorry?
Ellen Joshi and then edition of the feminism.
Yeah, just one edition.
I don't know, both are in Hindi.
Both? Yeah, but there is a Sanskrit text and Hindi translation. Yeah, so what is the problem?
Is there an edition? English
English translation, you have to go for like Conze's translation. Edward Conze's translation of Prajñāpāramitā. He has this translation. English. Conze. Conze. Some people call it Conze, also like Edward Conze. Conze. You pronounce it Edward Conze. Okay, so last time we stopped with this particular. Where did we stop? भगवान आह यश्य खलु सुभूते कुलपुत्रो वा कुलदुहिता वा इमं त्रिसहस्रमासान् लोकधातु सप्तरत्न परिपूर्णं कृत्वा तथागत. 8 number we finish, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yashito dharma pariyaya antattashtushpadamapi. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is gatham udgruhya parebhyo vistarena deshayet samprakashayet ayameva tato nidanam bahutaram punyaskandam prasunuyat अप्रमेयम असंख्येयम तत्कस्य हेतोः अतो निर्जाता हि सुभूते तथागतानाम अर्हतानाम सम्यक संबुद्धानाम अनुत्तरा सम्यक संबोधिः अतो निर्जाता बुद्धा भगवन्तः. Okay, this one I think we finished. Yeah. तत्कस्य हेतोः बुद्ध धर्मा इति सुभूते अबुद्ध धर्माश्च एव ते तथागतेन भाषिताः तेनोच्यन्ते बुद्ध धर्मा इति. Okay. Now we're going to start with the next section, right? Now, I told you last time that the following section now. So it starts, with this particular thought of getting rid of pride, abhimana. Right? Now this is the next station. You remember when we talked about those 18 stations, right? 18 steps in the practice of prajñāpāramitā. Yeah? So we have seen already that the first step was to have the chittotpada, right? And then we had paramita yoga, right? Second, what do you say? Second step, okay? And then we have seen the third step, that is rupakāyāptikamata, right? And then we have seen that we also have another one. Fourth step was dharmakāyāpti-kāmata, in which we had seen some subsections, right? Pravachana dharmakaya and adhigama dharmakaya. In adhigama dharmakaya, again we have seen there were two parts: jnana hetuka adhigama, and then punya hetuka adhigama. So that we finished. Now thereafter, in 12 next steps from 5 to 16, different obstacles on the path of perfection, of wisdom, are discussed, they are mentioned, and of course there's also this solution to how to overcome these obstacles. And there, if you remember, our fifth step in that, what we had is that this particular difficulty, a particular step, bhavana vishesha labhe anabhimanasthanam, anabhimana. That was the next step. Yeah. So not having any pride, even when one obtains or gets some special qualities, special experience due to meditation. Yeah, bhavana means meditation practice. Bhavana vishesha labhe. So when when one gets some special achievement in the meditative practice, one may develop some pride that I'm special, I'm superior to other practitioners. Now that particular, abhimana is an obstacle in one's spiritual progress. So in order to overcome that, we have seen this particular step. So in the commentary, these kind of next steps are taken, these 12 steps are taken as obstacles and then the solution to that. Okay. Now what is saying here? Can you read, Sukho Sata?
Yes. Akimanyase subute abhinus rotavannas yevam pravati. Maya sutapatti palam pratam iti.
Yeah. Okay. Now he starts again with a question. Tat kim manyase subhute? What does it mean?
What do you think, Subhuti?
Yeah. What do you think, O Subhuti? Right. Now, and the question is asked. Apinu, just a minute. Yeah. Tat kim manyase subhute? Apinu srotapannasya evam bhavati. So does a srotapanna think as follows? And then what he sings is Maya srota apanti phalam praptamiti. That by me, Maya, the fruit of srotapatti, stream entry, has been obtained. That means that I have obtained the fruit of srotapatti. I have obtained the fruit of the state of entering into the stream. So you know these words, right? Srotapatti, Sakrudagami, Srotapanna, Sakrudagami, Anagami, and Arhat. So what are these? What are these? What do you mean by that? Sakrudagami, Anagami, and Arhat.
there is the result of that what we have discussed.
Who else can tell me?
Just the four roots of Savagayana.
4 roots. Sunim, what are these? Yes, actually there are 8 Arya Pudgalas, right? I mean basically, just to combine these two, what Sukosada has said and what Sunim has said. Basically, you know that in the Shravakayana practice, once a practitioner crosses the worldly sphere, Lokiya, right? Laukika sphere, he enters into the Lokottara realm, supramundane realm, and in the supramundane realm, there are 8 stages. Yeah, 8 stages of the supramundane states, starting from Shrotapatti Marga, Shrotapatti Marga, then Shrotapatti Phala, Sakrudagami Marga, Sakrudagami Phala, Anagami Marga and Anagami Phala, and Arhatva Marga and Arhatva Phala. So these are the 8 stages through which a practitioner passes, right, before becoming an Arhat. So after when he reaches the state of Arhatva Phala, then he becomes an Arhat, right? Now these 8, basically they are 4 pairs, right, of Marga and Phala. So Marga means path, and Phala is fruition, right? So when one is striving and hasn't yet complete the practice, then that is Marga. But the moment that is complete, then it reaches the fruition, that is Phala. And according to Abhidharma, these are considered to be moments of consciousness. So Shrotapatti Marga Chitta. There is one moment of consciousness which is called Shrotapatti Marga. So it's a moment of consciousness when one transcends the worldly sphere, right, and enters the sphere of the, as Salim said, Arya Pudgala, the noble man, right? And then is called stream entry. That's basically the path of stream entry, the course of stream entry. Now, once you go through it, the next moment is fruition, because he said that according to Abhidharma, this happens only in 2 moments, 2 mind moments. First moment is the Marga, the path consciousness, and the second moment is the fruition consciousness. And in this way, a practitioner moves on, and actually they say that once you reach this Shrotapatti Marga, then you don't fall back, according to the Shravakayana viewpoint. When one enters the stream, then he is bound to reach to Nirvana, right? One is bound to reach to Nirvana or Arhathood. So there is this simile which they use, like when earlier days, when they also do transport of logs, big logs of wood. What they used to do is, like, they used to cut the logs, big logs, and mark them, and then they used to just to send it, float it through in the river, and then the logs of wood can just flow with the flow of the river, and then below downstream people can catch it, right? And so they save money on transport, right? They use this natural flow of the river for transportation. So Buddha has also used his one discourse. Those of you who are attending Professor Mark Allen's lectures, are you attending those or not? You should take this opportunity. You will not find it. I mean, later on, even by after spending money, you cannot find it. Now it's so easy for you. The scholars are here, and they really introduce you to many new areas in Buddhist studies. Who knows? I mean, in future, if you think you can actually pursue that, also as an academic career. But I mean, and it is always good. I mean, in Buddhism, we always praise this very idea of being bahushruta, right? Bahusutta, listen much more. Yeah? This is how you become learned, right? This is how you become wise, because when you listen a lot, so listening many things is very important. And sometimes you may feel that, okay, now what can I do with this? This is not related to my course, my exam. So you're saying, okay, so it's why should I waste time here? So better I go and cook at home. Yeah? Cook nice food in the hostel. But I mean, just remember that you never know. I mean, because once you learn, learning is again another thing. Like learning helps you to connect dots, to establish connections. Some things which you might feel, which you may feel that these are not connected, but later on when your knowledge grows, your ability grows, you will start establishing the connection. Now see, I'm reading this today with you, and I'm explaining to you what is Srotapanna. And suddenly I remembered this Darukhanda Sutta, which Professor Allen read with us in the session, where the Buddha gives a discourse when he say like how one can reach nirvana safely, and he is on the bank of a river and he see the one log of wood floating in the river, and then he makes that as an object of his discourse and explains how one can progress on the spiritual path. So you see, now I could connect these two. That time when I was studying or reading this Narukanda Sutta, I did not have the idea that I can connect it with this, also with this idea of Shrotapatti. Because this is exactly the idea, because Shrotapatti is a figurative expression. Literally, it simply means entry into Srota. Srota means a current or flow. Yeah, stream. So entry into the stream. What does it mean? I mean, it's a very figurative expression, which is very cultural expression. Now, those who do not know about this ancient culture of how they used to transport some of these like logs of wood, they can understand. It's like when you so the Buddha said that if this piece of wood which is floating on the river, if it does not get stuck to either shore, if it does not sink, or if no one grabs it on the way, then it is bound to enter the ocean, right? Reach the ocean. And then he uses this simile to explain the spiritual progress of a practitioner. He says if a practitioner enters the stream and does not get attached anywhere to either this shore or that shore, that means either worldly uh, or supramundane uh, achievements or any attachments, and if he does not is not bothered by all the evil thoughts and so on, then he is bound to reach the ocean of nirvana, right? And that's exactly the idea when you say Shrotapatti. So the idea in the Shavakayana is that once you reach the Shrotapatti, you are bound to become an arhat at the most in the 7 lifespans, yeah? 7 births, okay, before the maximum. But you will definitely reach arhathood, definitely reach that nirvana. And then we have this 8 stages. So Shrotapati Marga Phala, Sakrudagami Marga Phala, Anagami Marga Phala, and Arhatu Marga Phala. And this is how one reaches that stage. Uh, in other words, I mean, Shrotapati is the very first step of the Lokottara path, the supramundane path. Okay? So if you look at the spiritual journey, this is the first step, the first entry point, you can say, of the spiritual path. And in Tibetan, I mean, they also have this idea, like in Mahayana, basically, of Darshana Marga and Bhavana Marga. Darshana and Bhavana. So, when one reaches the Shotapatti stage, they say that this is the first time when a practitioner gets the first hand experience of nirvana, just glimpse of nirvana, but the first hand. He or she, can experience nirvana, at least a glimpse of nirvana for the first time. And so it's a darshana, it's a moment of seeing, the direct perception, direct vision of liberation. In the text, it is very beautifully explained. It is said like, okay, someone is going to the capital city and he wants to meet the king. He has heard about the king, yeah, and he wants to meet the king. So finally, he go to the capital, go on the main road, reaching king's palace, and there on a crossroad, from a distance, he see the king, maybe in a procession, riding on an elephant. Now he hasn't yet met the king, but had got the first glimpse of the king, right? Until then, he has just heard about the king, how he looks, yeah? How he speaks, and so on. But this is the first time that he gets the glimpse of the king. He hasn't yet met the king. And then later on, then maybe meet minister, gets appointment of the king, and then finally goes and meet the king. Okay, and had his conversation. So it is said in the text in the Milinda Paya, for example, this person seeing the king for the first time from a distance can be compared with the Sotapatti Marga Chitta. So that's the moment when a practitioner gets the first glimpse of nirvana. Okay, he hasn't yet meet the king, but he has seen the king from a distance. They also give one more example, like for example, if somebody is very thirsty, is traveling in the desert, and then from a distance, that traveler, he see fluttering leaves from a distance. And actually, ancient times, especially on these trade routes, wherever there is a water arrangement, then they used to put up this kind of a sign. These days we have also big electronic signs, but ancient times they used to kind of put some flags or banners just to indicate that there is water here, right? Now, this person from a distance see these signs and he recognizes, okay, there is water here. He hasn't yet drank the water, but had got the first glimpse. Or maybe he see a lake from a distance. He has seen the lake, he has seen the water, but he hasn't yet tasted it, right? So he says this seeing the water for the first time is just like the Shrotapatti Marga. Then afterwards, you have to just continue your practice, develop it further and further, and finally you reach Arhathood, right? Just as when you have seen the water, then you move on and on and on. Finally, you reach the water, enter step into the lake, and drink the water to your satisfaction, right? So therefore, they say darshana and bhavana. So once you get the glimpse of nirvana, you don't get anything new. You just see the nirvana, but you just develop your practice further, strengthen it, and ultimately reach arhathood. So that's the idea. Now, this, as I said, is the very first step on the Lokottara path. The second step is Sakridagami, once returner. Third step, Anagami, no returner. Fourth step, Arhat, the worthy one. Then afterwards, we can say, okay, Pratyeka Buddha and Samyak Sambuddha. Right? So, solitary Buddha and the perfectly awakened Buddha. Right? So these are the stages. Okay, all are Lokottara, all are supramundane states. So being a Buddha, Samyak Sambuddha, is the highest stage, and just to become a Srotapanna is the first step in that Shravakayana. So he says here, I mean, he is basically referring to that. Now what he says that actually, I mean, earlier we have seen this 4 stages where a practitioner first has an aspiration to become the Buddhahood, Chittotpada. Then he starts practicing paramitas, okay, cultivate those qualities. Then he aspires for acquiring the Buddha body and Buddha teachings, Buddha Dhamma, Buddha qualities. And after that aspiration, he starts practicing, he starts meditating, and he becomes Shrotapanna. Now that is the attainment. That is some kind of special attainment, right? Isn't it? Just like when you are in the academics now to become graduate, yeah, is a special achievement. Then become postgraduate. Then maybe PhD, postdoc. Huh? So the very first achievement is a Shotapatti. So now you remember that one may become proud. Oh, I'm now Shotapanna. I'm no more a worldly person, right? I have already crossed the Laukika realm, worldly realm, and I have now entered a supramundane state, supramundane level. So I'm someone special. So there is a danger that he might develop some pride, even though he knows about the twofold nairatmya, the twofold no self, yeah, Udgala nairatmya and Dharma nairatmya. Though he has all sorts of theoretical knowledge about it, as we have seen in the first 4 steps, but still, when you achieve something, there is a fresh danger of um, developing some kind of pride. Please remember that this ego is such a subtle thing that it is there till one becomes an arhat. Yeah, according to Buddhism, they say that this pride is removed only at the state of arhathood, not before that. Okay, you may have very subtle kind of a pride, so that's very difficult to get rid of. So even though you are Shotapanna, you may have a very subtle type of pride. Okay. So therefore, I mean, Buddha has this in mind, and therefore he's asking Subhuti this question. So what do you think, O Subhuti? Does it ever occur to a person who has attained Shrotapatti? Yeah, one who has become a Shrotapanna. Shrotapanna, Shrota means stream. And Apanna is a past participle from the root A plus Pada. Yeah, A plus Pada means to reach somewhere. Yeah, to reach. And Apanna means one who has reached. Okay, it means one who has reached. Apannaha. Or entered. Apada means one who has put his step in. Yeah, one who has stepped in the stream. Okay. So someone who has stepped into the stream is called Sotapanna. So what do you think? Does it ever occur to a stream entrant? In English, they usually translate as like stream entrant. One who has entered the stream. That is one who has now entered the Lokottara realm for the first time. Is the first step. Yeah. So he has attained. He has made some kind of special achievement. Now, does it ever occur to him that Maya Shrotapanti Phalam Praptam, that I have attained the fruit of stream entry? Does this thought ever occur to him? And why it is said like that? Because see, this very statement, Maya Shrotapati Phalam Praptam, you are again dividing, like you have that I, right? Which is your ego. And then Shrotapati Phalam. You are considering Shrotapati Phala as some kind of entity, right? Some kind of dharma. Right? And then there is a Praptam, this idea of action, right? Attainment. Now you can see when you say I, you are actually superimposing the idea of self, Pudgala, right? And when you are saying Shrotapati Phalam, you are putting, imposing the idea of Dharma, right? And in this way, you are substantiating a person and the phenomena or the object. Now, this is exactly, these are the two big obstacles, Atmagraha and Dharmagraha. Remember last time we talked about it, right? If a bodhisattva is infected, or if his mind is contaminated by the idea of self, idea of being, a life force, or a Pudgala, a person, then he cannot be called as a bodhisattva, right? Similarly, if he has the idea of dharma, dharma saujñā, then also he cannot attain his goal. See, because what he is trying to do is to develop twofold nairatmya, twofold non-self, right? Non-self with regard to person, Pudgala nairatmya, and non-self with regard to dharmas, dharma nairatmya. Now, when you are saying I attain Protapatti Phala, then you are actually imposing the idea of Atma Saujñā, because you are saying I, then also Dharma Saujñā, because you are talking about Protapatti Phala as a kind of an entity. And Praptam, this particular phenomena of one obtaining the other, you remember? But ultimately, all these things do not exist. This is just a concept, prajñapti. Dharma is also a prajñapti, right? This is an idea. Okay? This is not substantial. Yeah? Okay, so therefore, once Buddha asked this question to Subhuti, now then we'll have to see what is Subhuti's reply to this. Sukha Santi? Yes. Now, Subhuti answers, Subhuti says, Subhuti Raha, Subhuti said, no idam Bhagwan. Oh Bhagwan, it is certainly not. No he idam. Yeah? It is certainly not. Okay? Na srota pattasya evam bhavati. A person who is a stream entrant never thinks such, thus. Or you can say this, it never occurs to a stream entrant that what? Maya shrotapatti phalam praptamiti, that I have the stream entry. Yeah. So a bodhisattva or a practitioner never harbor this kind of thoughts. A real Sotapanna. A real Sotapanna will never have this thought that I have obtained Sotapatti. Why? Because the moment he says I, he is imposing Atma Saujnya. The moment he is saying Sotapatti Phalam, he is superimposing Dharma Saujnya. Okay? And when he is kind of using the word verb, this praptam, that means he is also imposing this grahya grahaka relationship. That one is comprehender and there is another thing which is comprehended. Right? So comprehensible and comprehensor. This kind of duality is also superimposed. But what Buddha has said already, the reality is, in ultimate sense, is agrahya and anabhilamya. Yeah? It cannot be comprehended or grasped. It cannot be expressed. Anabhilamya. Isn't it? Because there is no duality. And if there is no duality, the language cannot work. Because language presupposes duality. Yeah? Just try to imagine, try to think. If there is no duality, then how would you use the language? You get the point? So, he never thinks in this manner. Now, in this particular sentence, these two sentences, okay, it is prescribed that a practitioner should strive to become a Shrotapanna. We should try to go beyond the Lokika realm, enter the Lokottara realm, yeah, enter the supramundane state, and once you reach there, you become a Shrotapanna. Yeah. So, from one perspective, Buddha wants the practitioners to have I mean, what is saying? So, as a practitioner, he has achieved something special, and because he should aspire. If he wants to become Buddha, he cannot become Buddha straight away, right? He has to pass all the exams. Yeah, all the 10 paramitas. He should clear all the 10 bhumis. He should pass from Shrotapanna to Arhat. He has to complete all these stages, right? Now, if you go and say, okay, please give me PhD straight away, what will they do? They will send you for some counseling, mental hospital. Go and get yourself treated. How can you directly get a PhD? You have to pass through, become graduate, then postgraduate, then PhD. So you have to follow all the steps. So even a Buddha has to become a Shotapanna. Now, after getting that kind of reaching there, one should be careful that one should not develop any kind of a ego. Okay, that this ego is a big obstacle Okay. So this is something we need to keep in mind, that there is an aspiration. A practitioner should have an aspiration to become a Shrotapanna, because Shrotapanna as a first step, because without that he cannot progress further. But at the same time, a real Shrotapanna, even after achieving that particular stage, you should not develop any Atma Saujnya or Dharma Saujnya. Right? You should not have that Abhimana. The word which they use is Abhimana. Abhimana means pride. So you should not have any pride when he attains some kind of special stage in his practice. Okay? So the first two sentences, they are talking about this Chanda Pranidhana, Katham Satavyam, and also gives you some glimpse of the question part. It also gives you some kind of a glimpse into how he should train his mind. Yeah? Now let us read the next sentence. Sukho, who's going to read? Sukho Santi, you read, yeah? Sunim, can you read the next one? Yes. Now Buddha raises the question, Tat kase heto, and why is that? Why Shrotapanna does not think that he has attained the Shrotapatti stage? And the answer is, now this is Subhuti's reply, remember. Huh? You have Tat kase heto, nahi sa Bhagwan kaschit dharma apannaha tenochate Shrotapanna iti. Says, O Bhagwan, O exalted one, he hasn't reached any state. Look at this. Nahi. He said, Nahi sa Bhagwan, O Bhagwan, he has not na sa Bhagwan kanchit dharma apannaha. Oh Bhagwan, because he hasn't reached any state. When you say prapta, right? Maya shrotapatti phalam praptam. The verbal form actually is a participle which is prapta, right? Prapta is what form? What form is it? Prapta. It's a past participle of what? Yes, past participle of pra plus apa is the root. Pra plus apa. Apa means to reach, to obtain. Right? So he said there is no dharma which has been reached or obtained. Nasakaschit dharma. Nasakaschit dharma apanna. So he hasn't reached any state. And further, Tena uchyate Shrotapannaha iti, and therefore it is said that he has reached the stream. It is just said, but it is not expressing any reality. Right? It is said like that. But it is not so. In other words, when he says Tena uchyate, therefore it is said that he has reached certain dharma, that he has reached the state of being a stream entry. It means that this is just a conventional reality. Okay. Tena uchyate Shrotapanna. Therefore, he is called Shrota Apanna. Now, Shrotapanna is just a word, it's just an expression, right? It is just how you say, how you express things, how you communicate. But don't misunderstand that this is reality. Okay? The reality, in reality, there is no state as such, which is called as protapatti. Right? Because if you think that there is a state, then that means you are having the dharma saujña. Right? There is no atma saujña, there is no dharma saujña. These are just saujña, just your perception, but not reality. Yeah? Whatever you perceive is not, there is no guarantee that it will be real. Now you perceive this table. If I ask you what you see, and you say, okay, I see a table. But this is what you say. Yeah? It is uchyate. This is what you say. Yeah? But in reality, there is no table. Yeah? In reality, you don't see a table. Because table is just a name. It is just a concept, right? What you see is maybe this color, shape, and so on and so forth. And you mentally perceive, you create a saujña that this is table. Right? And then you say, okay, I see a table. But this is what you say. This is not reality. This is exactly what they're trying to say. That you use the language. You use the language to communicate. But what happened in the case of common people is that we attach to the words and what they say, right? And we start thinking that this is reality. But this is no, this is not reality. The language is just an expression. It is okay, it is useful for communication. But don't take it too seriously. Yeah? Don't think that this is they are describing reality. The reality is undual. There is no duality. Now, those of you, Sunim and Setan, you also studied Vimalakirti, right? Isn't it? You studied Vimalakirti, and this is exactly the point. You see? Isn't it? See, therefore, you try to connect. And therefore, I tell you that, you should really take advantage of your stay here in Pune. When you go back, you are not going to get these scholars. You cannot spend money and go to Europe or to Australia, to US, to study with them. You don't have to spend any money here, right? It is for free. You should take advantage. It may not be useful. You may not, and you may not. Of course, it is not giving you any marks or anything. No? But this knowledge, whatever you hear, you don't know, but it is really enriching your mind. It is enriching your experience. When I was a student here, then during winter and so on, we used to study all sorts of things. I was specializing in grammar, but I was attending also some philosophy classes. I was also attending very absurd things like Wittgenstein's atomism, and I was attending the classes of symbolic logic, and so on. So they were not really connected with what I was doing my master's course. But whenever I now look back, I feel that it was a benefit because I can see the connection. It was good that I've learned this different philosophy. I can connect it when I teach now and so on. So you don't never know. How it is useful. If you are wise enough, you will be able to connect. Yeah. So, but this is an opportunity. We always feel that you should not miss. But I see that you don't. I actually, this is something like you don't have to pass an exam there. Right? You just have to listen, get what you can. There's no exam, so there's no pressure of exam. But you should get that. This is a benefit you have. You also get to know the scholars. Who knows in future if you go to any of these universities, this earlier acquaintance would also be of great help, right? And maybe, I mean, and on the top of everything, you get the knowledge. Right? So there are people who are attending from Europe. Now you can imagine that if they are attending from Europe, that means they are 5.5 hours before, I mean, after us. So when we are having a class here at 10:30 a.m., it is like 5 o'clock in UK. Right? Now, if those students are attending these classes, our students should definitely attend these classes. So I really feel bad that our students are not taking advantage of this when it is actually meant for them. Yeah? So you should really seriously think about this. I mean, and take advantage of this. Otherwise, anyway, I mean, these people come, they teach here, they go back, it's all finished. Yeah? But the point is, like, if somebody asks, okay, at that time you were there and all these great scholars came, but have you met any one of them? Have you talked to any one of them? Have you attended their classes? And then you will say no. Then who is on the losing side? Not the scholars. Yeah, they came here, they did their job, they went back. But if you had an advantage and if you didn't use it, then you are at loss. Actually, there is this very beautiful saying by the Buddha. He says, when you are sick and when you have a doctor just next door, and if you don't go and get yourself checked or diagnosed and cured, then this is not doctor's fault. Yeah? Whose fault is it? Or the patient's fault. Yeah? So similarly, the Buddha said that when the Vinayaka, the great master, is here, yeah, and when you want to get rid of your suffering in your life, and if you don't go and see the master, don't listen to his discourse, then this is not the fault of the master. Right? So think about this very seriously. And don't think about your some practical problems, how to cook and how to do this. And actually, this is why basically this time I have made it a point that I will have no other classes on that during that time slot, so that students get the chance to attend. Because this is for you basically. You should take advantage of this. Just learn whatever you can. You may not be able to use it right now. It may not give you any marks right now, but it will help you in long run. This getting knowledge is very important. Anyway, it all started from that Darukhanda matter, but the log of wood. So the idea is that when Shrotapatna reaches this state, it does not occur to him. He never thinks that I have obtained the state, because the moment he thinks like that, and he is already developing, actually that is a proof that he is having a Atma Saujnya, he is having a Dharma Saujnya. And when he has this kind of Atma Saujnya and Dharma Saujnya, if he gets attached to it, then he is already away from the Dhamma. Right? So now when he says that iti uchyate, they're pretty set. So all these are just words. I mean, they are just expressions. Yeah? So what? I mean, you have to understand it as prajñāpāramitā, as expression, just as a communication, matter of communication. Yeah, and then Setan, please continue. Continue. कहाँ जा रहे हो सेतन? हाँ. पढ़ो. Now he says he hasn't reached either a form or sounds, or smells, or tastes, or touch, or any of the mental phenomena. And therefore, he is called, therefore he is called Shrotapanna. Therefore he is called a stream enter. So we use this expression that he has entered the stream. But there is no real dharma called stream, and there is no person who has entered it. Yeah? So we are denying, not we, I mean, in reality, there is no self and there is no dharma. There is a Pudgala Nairatmya, there is a Dharma Nairatmya. This is what we are trying to achieve through this prajñāpāramitā, right? So through prajñāpāramitā, you are training your mind to look at these things from a different perspective. Right? See, prajna, I told you at the very beginning, prajna is not something which you can get for free. Yeah? You need to develop it. And how you develop it? We know already that we have threefold prajna, right? Shrutamayi, prajna, Chintamayi, and Bhavanamayi, right? You know this threefold division, right? Yeah? What is it? What is Shrutamayi, Chintamayi, and Bhavanamayi? Sukho Saddha, you heard these words?
Listening
and
then
through listening and then
thinking,
through, yes, contemplation and meditation, right? Now, you are not, our students are not ready to listen. Yeah? Then how would they think? And how can they practice? Right? Now, you see, the point is that prajna is something which needs to be developed. So prajna is a special way of looking at the world, right? It's a special vision, special. I mean, see, in scriptures, prajna is said to be a special way of knowing things, a special way of looking at things, right? A special way. I mean, it is also equivalent of right view, and that needs to be developed. Yeah? So it is said that prajna is something which needs to be developed. Prajna bhave tappa. Vijnana is okay. Vijnana is like you get it. If your eyes, if there is light, and if there is a visual object, and if your attention is there, you will see the object. You don't have to make any efforts, right? It is mechanical. But if you look at the table, and if you want to look at the table as empty, or if you want to look at the table as no self, no dharma, right? Then you have to develop this way of looking at things. It is not like that you open your eyes and you will see emptiness there. No. You need to develop that approach. So therefore, that he is saying here, that you have to tell yourself, you have to train your mind that in reality, as an absolute reality, you don't reach either the object or the sound or the smell or the taste or the touch. Okay? And then he says, Tena uchyate. Okay? Tena uchyate shrotapanna iti. So therefore it is just said, shrotapanna. Shrotapanna is just an expression, it's a figurative expression. Okay? It refers to some kind of a spiritual stage, higher stage in one's spiritual progress. But don't get attached to it. Don't develop that I. Yeah? Don't develop the ego based on that. So this is a caution. Therefore, we said the title of this particular stage is Bhavana Vishesha Labhe Anabhimanata. So you don't have to develop not developing any pride, any ego when you attain some special stage. Right? So Shrotapati is a special stage. Now when you attain it, one has to take care. Yeah? So it's just like whenever you achieve a higher stage, there's always a danger of developing ego. Yeah. I was no one, then I became a professor. Okay, I became the head. Maybe I became a vice chancellor. Right? You go higher and higher, and there are always chances that you have, you develop ego, strong ego. But one has to take care. Hmm? So, and the Buddhist suggestion is, the suggestion of the Buddha is how you should think. You should learn to think. I mean, this way. You have to think that, oh, this is just a word. Yeah. If I become vice chancellor, what is vice chancellor? Just a word, right? There is no real object as a vice chancellor. Yeah. It's just a word, just an expression. Head of the department, just an expression, right? Now you know that expression, therefore you say, "Oh, yes, sir." Yeah. Yeah, you pay respect, you show. Yeah. Now, if I go outside on the street to people who don't know this resignation, yeah, they will just treat me like an ordinary person, right? Isn't it? Because they don't have that conception in the mind. So, I mean, what is there to be so proud about it? We'll have to tell ourselves like this. So, it is just an expression. Shrotapanna, fine. It's just an expression. In reality, I have not reached anything. Yeah, there is no I, and there is no dharma which has been obtained. Right? Okay. Good. So this is chitta pragraha. Now this chitta pragraha. So you have to always tell yourself that it's just an expression. We can say things, but that does not mean that they are real. Okay, can you read the next one, Sutta?
Sujit Bhagavan Sutavannastyvam Bhavet Maya Sutapattipalam Praptam Iti Sa Eva Tasyat Maraho Bhavet Sattva Jiva Raha Budgala Raho Bhavet Iti.
Yeah. So can you explain this? Sachit. What is Sachit?
If.
Yes, exactly.
If, O Bhagavan.
Hmm.
The one
Hmm? Sachet Bhagwan. What was it?
if someone who if occur that's a stream entry. I have obtained the root of stream entry. So he
No, he's saying here, Sachet Subhuti, oh Subhuti, sorry, uh, what is it? Sachet, so where is it? Okay, yeah, Sachet Bhagwan Srutapanya Sevam Bhaved, O Bhagwan, O Exalted One, if it would occur, if it occurs to a stream entrant, that Maya Shota Apatti Phalam Praptam Iti, that I have obtained the fruition or the fruit of stream entry, then the eva tasya atmagraho bhavet, then that itself is his grasping of the idea of self. This itself will amount to his grasping of self. Sorry? No, self is Atma. And then we have the whole string. Sattva graha bhavet. Yeah, it would be his grasping of the idea of being. Yeah, jiva graho bhavet. It would be his idea of life force, jiva, or it would be the idea of his pudgala, grasping of pudgala, a person over and above the five aggregates. Yeah, so The moment you use that, I mean, see, but I mean, it is not the case that they are denying. I mean, they are denying the self. I mean, they are denying the self as an absolute reality. Yeah, but now at the conventional level, the self is there, right? At the conventional level, there is self, but at the absolute level, there is no self. So what we should be always careful is that don't mistake conventional to be absolute, and don't mistake absolute to be conventional. You should keep them in their own respective place. Okay? If you want to talk to others, you have to take recourse to conventional reality, right? But when you are dealing with reality, you have to get rid of it, right? See, I mean, the Buddha also, as I said, Buddha also said I, you, right? Because he was communicating at that time, so he has to use these terms, these expressions, but he does not get attached to it as a reality, as absolute reality, right? See, I mean, in our language, for example, we use, I mean, in a Kamalaśīla has given the example. We use a word like army as an entity, right? Or we say forest as an entity. I say, have you seen the forest? Yeah, yes. Which forest? Which forest have you seen?
University forest.
Huh?
University forest.
Okay. Now, if I ask you what is forest?
Forest, which is correction. Where there is most plant.
See, okay. Now, let's see. I mean, we use the expression like army or forest as one entity. Okay. But is army a single entity? Or is forest a single entity in reality? See, when you say there are a number of trees, yeah, plants, bushes together, then you say this is forest, right? But in reality, this is not one object. There are many trees, many plants, many shrubs, many let's say many creepers. Similarly, when you say army, you talk about it as one entity. But in reality, what is army? There are foot soldiers, there are fighter tanks, right? Isn't it? There are people on the gunners and all sorts of things. I mean, older days there used to be foot soldiers, horse riders, yeah, elephant riding soldiers, and so on, or the chariot riding soldiers, and together you call them army. But so army is an expression, it's a singular expression, but in reality it refers to many, right? Many. It does not refer to one actually, it refers to many. Similarly, tree, you say forest, singular, again you use singular, one entity. But in fact, forest is multiple trees, right? Many trees. If it is one tree, you will not call it a forest, right? So, I mean, you see, but these are conventional expressions. I mean, and they're useful, right? They're useful expressions when you are talking to each other. But don't misunderstand them to be absolutely real. That's what Buddha is trying to tell you. Okay? He is not saying that there is no forest, there is no army. He's saying, yes, there are expressions like army, there are expressions like forest, but these are just expressions, only uchyate. Yeah? But they are not absolute reality. Don't attach to them. Yeah.
Like wheel sports.
Sorry?
Wheel horse.
Wind horse?
Okay.
What is wind horse? What about it?
घोड़ा के साथ horse के साथ
घोड़े के साथ क्या होता है?
जो आगे आगे खींचते हैं और पीछे लगा हुआ horse क्या कहते हैं उसको? horse होता है।
What, horse carriage?
शायद this
Okay.
means is group of them.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the idea. Okay, this is the basic thing. Now he applies the same to all the next stages in the practice. So if you read the next one, Supasanti, can you read the next one?
Yes, sir. Bhagavatāha tattakim mangyase suvute api nu Vajracchedikā evam bhavati maya Vajracchedikā prajñāpāramitā.
Yeah, now this is exactly the same sentence, same format. Only changes that instead of Shrotapanna, we have Sakrutāgāmi. Right? Can you tell me something more about what is Sakrutāgāmi? Sakrutāgāmi usually we translate it as, how do we translate the term Sakrutāgāmi? Once returner, right? Sakrut Agami. Sakrut means once, and Agami, returner, one who returns. Yeah? A plus Gama. Gama means to go, but A plus Gama means to return, yeah? To come back. So, Sakrutāgāmi means once returning. Now, according to Buddhist philosophy, they make these stages based on how many defilements you have removed. Okay. So in the Shravakayana, there is more emphasis on getting rid of mental impurities, right? Defilements, kleshas, or fetters, bondages. So when we are talking about these different stages, we are talking about the level of purity, mental purity, because that is the ultimate practice. You remember, like the Buddha said, Buddha when he gave his, in short, he said, what is my teaching? Not doing evil, cultivating good, and purifying one's own mind, right? Sabba papasa karanam kusala sopasampada sachitta pariyodapanam. This is the teaching of the Buddha, right? So now, when you're in the worldly sphere, you do the first two. You stop doing evil, you cultivate good. By cultivating good, you reach the highest point of the Lokika stage, worldly practice, worldly progress. But then the moment you enter, you start getting rid of the defilements. The moment you start purifying your mind fully or permanently, then you already enter the Lokottara realm, Supramandan state. So that starts from the Shrotapati. In the Shrotapati, they say that a practitioner or Shrotapanna has already removed 3 lower fetters, 3 lower bondages. Yeah? Which are these? Sunim, you are student of Shravakayana. You must be knowing this. What are the 3 things? What are the 3 bondages? Do you know about the 10 fetters, 10 sanyojanas? Which are the 10 sanyojanas? What is that? Which are the 10 fetters? You know the fetters, right? Now our smart students can immediately Google and find out. Go to the dictionary, online, quickly, yeah, and give me a smart answer. But I know. So what are the 10 fetters?
Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicca.
Okay, yeah, here comes one answer. Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicca. Yes, Surucha.
Silavat Paramasa.
Silapata Paramasa.
Kamachanda.
Kamachanda. Vyapada.
Ruparaga. Ruparaga.
Ruparaga. Aruparaga.
Mana.
Mana.
Udacha Kukucha.
No, now you lost the track. Okay. We already had mana before, right? You already said Sakkaya Ditti, yeah, mana, Silapata Paramasa, right?
Vichikicca.
Chikitsa. So
Doubt.
actually, you see, yeah, I mean, this proper sequence should be Kamachanda, Vyapada, right? These two first. Then Vichikitsa, sorry, Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikitsa, and Mana. Then, sorry, Silapata Paramasa. And then we have Ruparaga, Aruparaga, Mana, Itsa, Acharya, and finally Avidya. So basically, they say that when one becomes a Shrotapanna, he has already removed the 3 fetters. Which 3? Rucha, do you remember? Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicca, and Silapata Paramasa. These are the 3 things which are removed first when he becomes a Shrotapanna. Then once a practitioner weakens Kamachanda and Vyapada, these 2 fetters, then he is called Sakrudagami. So when he becomes a Sakrudagami, at that time he has advanced further. So at the Shrotapatti level, he has already removed the first 3 fetters, the 3 lower fetters. Okay, Sakkaya Ditti, Silapata Paramasa, and Vichikicca. Sakkaya Ditti is this wrong view of self, Sakkaya, that the body exists, that this I am, this kind of concept. So that is the wrong view of the idea of self. Then we have Vichikicca, doubt about the efficacy of the path taught by the Buddha. The third one, Silapata Paramasa, belief in the efficacy of rites and rituals. These are already dropped when you become Sotapanna. Then the next one is Kamachanda Vyapada. They are weakened when one becomes Shakradagam. They are not removed yet, but weakened. They are removed only when one becomes Anagami, no returner. And then the last 5 fetters, the more subtle fetters, Raga. I mean, these last 5, there is variation in different lists. Sometimes we have this in Pali as Rucha shared. I mean, Ruparaga, Aruparaga, Issa, Machurya, and Avijja. Sometimes Raga, and then we also have Mana, Issa, Machurya, Avijja. But anyway, so these are, I mean, the 5, the remaining 5 are removed only when one becomes an Arhat. Okay, not before that. So Sakrudagami is someone who will return to this human world only once. It does not mean that he will be born only once. Please remember. He may be born more than one occasion, but he will be born as a human being only once. He will return to the human world only once, and therefore he is called Sakradagami, once return. He may take his second birth in the heaven, okay, in one of the Devalokas, but not in the human world. Do you get the point? The rest of the sentence is same. Okay, Sunim, can you continue? Yes. Stop. Just explain. You know already this. Again, the sentence is same.
I get the Sakradagami page. This is not the really thing. Because it's by the
Okay, so Bhagwan asked him, so what do you think of Subhuti? Does a Sakradagami think that he has attained, that I have attained the fruit of Sakradagami, once returner? And the Buddha says, Subhuti says, no, Hidam Bhagwan, it is certainly not, O Bhagwan. And why is that? Because so a Sakradagami never thinks in this manner. Na Sakradagami evam bhavati kamina. So a Sakradagami never thinks like this. It does not occur to a Sakradagami once returned that Maya Sakradagami phalam praptamiti, that I have obtained the state of, or the fruit of, once returned. Right? Tat kasya hetoh, Setan?
तस्य हेतु नाहि स कश्चित् धर्मः या सकृदगामि दानि त्वापन्नः.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean the reply, I mean, tatkasya hetoh, वहां से है ना? Yeah, tatkasya hetoh, and why is that? And the answer is nasa kaschit dharmaha yes sakutagami apanna. So there is no any dharma which has reached the Sakradagamitva. That means there is no dharma which can be called as Sakradagami. Okay, Sakradagami used this expression. But if you ask what is Sakradagami, you cannot put a finger here and say, okay, this is Sakradagami. No. Just like here, when you see the table, but if I ask you where is the table, show me exactly where is the table. And you may not be able to there is no once returner, there is no being. Nahi sakashi dharmo, yes, Sakradagami tvam apanna. So there is no dharma, which is literally, there is no dharma which has reached the state of being Sakradagami. But I mean, that's not so natural in English. So we say that there is no such dharma which has attained that state. I mean, which is called as Sakridagami Phala. No, what is your question? Shakrutagamitvam apanna. So Sakrutagami, you know, the Sakrut means once, Agami means one who comes, one who returns, and Sakrutagamitvam, this twa suffix means the state of being a Sakrutagami. Sakrut, not Sakruta, but Sakrut is once. And Agami, so Sandhi वहाँ पे जो है ना Sakrut plus Agami becomes Sakrutagami. Right? Sakrut is indeclinable, it means once. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he says that there is no state called Sakrutagami which he has attained. Yeah, who read this sentence? You read, yeah? So Sukha Sabda, maybe the next one.
Bhagavan aha tatki manyase subute avinu anagamina evam bhavati maya nagami phalam praktam iti.
What does it mean?
The shopkeeper said, "What do you think, O Subhuti? Is occurred to Anagami thus I have obtained Anagami."
Oops, sorry. Just a minute. I pressed the wrong button and lost my text. Sachet Brahman Sotapanna. Wait, no, after that. Apinu Sakrutagaminevang bhavati maya Sakrutagami phalam praptamiti subutiraha no idam bhagwan na Sakrutagaminevang bhavati maya Sakrutagami phalam praptamiti tat kase hetoho sadunarvasya dharmo yes Sakrutagamitvam uchyate Sakrutagami, therefore it is called Sakrutagami. So there is no dharma which has attained the state of being, state of being attained once, and hence it is called Sakrutagami. Bhagavanaha tatkim manyase subhute apinu anagami evam bhavati maya anagami phalam praptamiti. It's the same question. Now instead of Sakrutagami you have Anagami, right? Does Anagami think like this? What? That I have attained the state of Anagami. Yeah? So does this ever occur to him? And the Subhuti says, yeah, can you super something?
Subhuti aha no hidam bhagavan na anagamina evam bhavati maya anagami phalam praktam iti.
Yeah. Now the same thing about the Anagami, no returner. And this no returner means he will not return to the human world. He may be born in the heaven, Devaloka, but not in the human world. Okay? That person is called Anagami. Now, does it ever occur to an Anagami, no returner? Now, when he becomes no returner, as I said, he already weakens Kamachanda and Vyapaka. These two fetters. He has already removed them totally, and now only the five subtle fetters have remained. But it never occurs to him. So he said, "No idam Bhagavan, no, never, O Bhagavan, na anagami sevam bhavati maya anagami phalam praptamiti." So it never occurs to anagami that he has attained anagami stage. Tat kase to we'll be reading this. Sunil?
No is the Bhagavan asti dharmo, you anagami tuam apanaha. Hema satte anagami.
Yeah, now he concludes, he says, thus, there is no dharma, nahi sa bhagavan kashi dharmo yo anagamitum apanna. It's the same expression. There is no dharma which has attained the expression anagami. Right? That means you use the word, but it does not refer to anything. They often give this example. Horn's hair, right? Or hair of a horn. Sorry, horn. Oh, what I'm saying. Hare's horn. Yeah? A horn of a hare. Now, this is just a word, this is an expression. But does it refer to anything? No, yeah? Because there is nothing like a hare's horn, isn't it? Because, hare does not have any horn, right? So, now, tena uchyate anagami iti, and therefore, it is called. Now, it's called is important. And therefore, it is just called anagami. So, anagami is an expression. We use it for the sake of convenience of narrating. Different stages in the on the path. But in absolute sense, they do not exist. Now the same question is asked about arhat. Yes, Sedan?
Bhagavan aha tat kim manyasi buddhi api. Pitu arhat evam bhagavati bhavati to evam bhavati maya arhatvam praptam iti. Subuddhi aha nahi idam bhagavan.
Just a minute. Now see the question which he's asking. So he's saying, just a minute. Early sentence. Yeah, so does it ever occur to a arhat that I have attained arhathood? Maya arhatam praptamiti. And the answer is Atha. You read the same part, right? Atha ayushmato vishtashoprasya arhatam praptasya vimuktihi. Now this particular expression, arhathood, is also an expression. And then he further says, is there a vimukti? You read that sentence? are only up to here. Arahato praptamiti.
Praptamiti subhuti aha na idam bhagavan.
No, see here. So now when he says Kim manasubhata arahato evam bhavati maya arahato praptamiti, and then
So this is
there is a part from node. Where do you say Subhuti Raha? So Subhuti said, no hidam Bhagwan. It is certainly not of Bhagwan. Na arhata evam bhavati. Arhata never thinks like this. That maya arhatam praptaviti, that I have attained arhatud. No. Tat kasya hetu. So he says, arhat never thinks that I have attained arhatud. So this is a proper way of dealing with this. So we have to tell ourselves, that there is no arhat I have obtained. So the useful thought, no hidam Bhagwan, narata evam bhavati, maya arahatam praptami. So Arahat never thinks that he has attained any state called arahathood. Tal kasya hetoho, and why is that? So, I mean, na arhata evam bhavati. So he says, Arhat never thinks like this. Arhat never thinks that maya arhatam praptamiti, that I have obtained arahathood. Now, you see, what he's saying here is that it's the same thing. Subhuti says, no idam Bhagwan, na arhata evam bhavati. Arhat never thinks like this, that I have obtained arahathud, maya arahatam praptamiti. And then he adds, tat kasya hetuhu, and why is that?
Kaschit dharma ya arhat nama.
Yes, so he says, because, I mean, O Subhuti, there is no dharma. So he says there is no dharma, O Bhagwan, which can be called as arhat. So in absolute reality, from the absolute reality point of view, there is no dharma which can be called as arhat phala. And then uchyate arhat phala means. Therefore, it is said arhat phala. That means it is just an expression. Okay. And then Sachet Bhagwan.
Evam bhavit maya arhatvam praptamiti. Sa evam.
No. Okay. Just finish this one.
Sa evam.
No. Uske pehle line. So the moment, I mean, he thinks up to here. Okay. So whenever, or you can use it like this. Sachet, if arhato evam bhavet, if arhat thinks like this, that and if you think that I have obtained arhathud, maya arhatam praptamiti, then what would happen? Then the sequence is given. Yeah. So eva bhavet, and then that itself would become his atmagraha, his grasping, his attachment to self. Okay, that would amount to his attachment to self.
Sattva graha.
Yeah.
Vajracchedikā away.
Yeah. So he says here. Saivatasya atmagraha bhavet, so that itself will amount with atmagraha, that means attachment to self, attachment to sattva beings, and that will yeah, so that itself would become his atmagraha, that is the grasping to the idea of self, grasping to the then sattvagraha, grasping to the idea of being. Then we have jivagraha, grasping to the idea of life force, and finally pudgalagraha, the idea of grasping to the idea of person over and above the five aggregates. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I mean, just the same thing, that these are all expressions, these are stages which we call. It's fine. I mean, there are stages, but you should not consider them as absolute entities. Okay, or entities from the point of view of ultimate reality. They are there as conventional realities, but not as ultimate. I think we'll stop here because then the next one is the expression is Arana Vihari starts. We'll stop here today, and we can continue on Thursday. When are you going to present? Especially those who are with exam. 3 of you, and Rucha and Meghana Ji. So we'll start actually presentations from Thursday. Okay, one by one you could read. Sorry. No, I didn't get it. What do you mean? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so maybe what we can do half a time for reading, and then half a time for presentation tutorial. Okay, so that we get it 50-50, something like that. Okay. And when so I'll talk to Pranali ma'am, she can have also meeting with you, and then we can also think of party. But our Bante is not here, so we'll be missing. When is he coming back?
Maybe after 1 week.
After 1 week. By that time, New Year will be over, yeah? Yeah, okay. Anyway, he's having his party, so we should also have our party. Yep. Sorry?
One of my friends want to do the PhD, and she chose the title is the comparative textual study of the Netipakarana and Petakopadesa. What do you think about this topic? Is it possible to do?
What things? Your friend want to compare? See, because these are two different texts, right?
Yes.
Both are in the paracanonical text, right?
Yeah.
And so when you say want to compare two different texts, what is the connection between these two texts? Is there any, I mean, what kind of connection? Has your friend written any synopsis on this?
No, she just
I mean, see, this is just a title, right?
yes.
But now, whether it is there is any what kind of research problem we see. See, if she reads these two texts and if she thinks that okay, so they have some kind of common theme, and then they explain it differently or things like that, then it is possible to do it that way. Yeah. So first ask her whether she has seen this text, whether she has read this text. Yeah. And if she thinks that there are some common themes, but then the two texts are giving different outlook, yeah, or different approach, then the comparison is possible. But if they are talking about two different things and there is no real connection, then we cannot do a comparative study. So for comparative study, there should be something in common, right? So first ask her what common points she see and what will be the basis of her comparison. You understand?
Yes.
So yeah. So just ask her to write it down so that it will become easy, become clearer. Yeah?
Yes.
I got it two books. From the bibliography, Deokar, the word history of Vajracchedikā.